Ecclesiastes chapter 2. Good morning. My name is Brent. We'll be spending some time together. Good morning. Shall we begin immediately? I've been advised that you're ready. The sooner we begin, the better it will be for you. I'm not sure where to begin. First, you must relax, and then let your thoughts flow. Take your time. There's no cause for hurry. Go back if you wish, back to your earliest remembrance. It's hazy, just a series of impressions. Let the impressions come. That night. Tell me about that night. It's as if I was born that night. I became a person, a human being in my own right. Before that, nothing. Or those impressions again, light, smell, perfume. The perfume my mother always wore, lilac, nothing else. And then that night. Tell me about it. He was in bed and the sheets were twisted around him and his body was hot, his eyes like raw onions, head aching. He cried out once or twice, softly, tentatively. He lifted his head toward the door. The door was partially open, allowing a slant of feeble light into the room. He curled up in bed, listening. He always liked to listen at night. Often he heard his mother and father murmuring in their bedroom, the bed making a lot of noise, and there were the nice sounds of his father and mother together, making soft sounds as if they were furry animals, like the stuffed animals he always slept with, Biddy the bear and Pokey the pig, his friends. His father would say, "Hey, boy, you're getting too old for those toys. 3.5, going on 4? The boy knew that his father was joking, that he would never take his friends away. Anyway, his mother would say, Now, he's a long time from 4, a long, long time. The tenderness in her voice and her perfume like lilac in the spring. Now the boy cuddled in the bed with Pokey the pig, his favorite, clutched to his chest. But something kept him awake, prevented him from sleeping. Out of the half-dark of the house, he realized that his mother's and father's voices were different. Not soft and murmuring the way they usually were at night, but louder. Not really louder, but harsher. They were speaking in whispers, but their voices scratched at the night and the dark. And he heard his mother say, "Shh, you might wake him." The boy lay still, as unmoving as Pokey the pig. The bed creaked in the next room, and he heard his father's bare feet padding toward his room. His figure blocked out the slant of light. Then his father's footsteps receded. The light spilled into the room again, and the boy felt brave and clever, knowing he had fooled his father. He wanted to tell Pokey how clever he was, but he remained still and silent, not daring to move, listening not only with his ears, but his entire being. "What did you hear?" "I'm not sure. What I mean is, I don't know whether I actually heard the words or if I'm filling them in now, like blank spaces on a piece of paper you have to complete. I was barely 3.5, I guess. Anyway, I knew they were discussing me. More than that, as if they were discussing what to do about me. And I got all panicky and began to cry, but quiet crying, so they wouldn't hear me." "Why this panic?" "Well, it's as if they were deciding my fate. I thought they were going to send me away. I heard my mother say, 'But what do we tell him?' And my father saying, 'It doesn't matter. He's too young to realize what's happening.' Did I really hear him saying that, or did the sense of what he was saying come to me? Then they began talking about a trip, the 3 of us, and I felt better. It was winter outside, snow and cold, and I didn't want to leave the house where it was nice and warm. But as long as we were together, I really didn't care." "Do you remember the trip?" "Vaguely, again. I remember a journey, endless, on a bus, the terrible smell of the exhaust, the doors hissed like a snake when they opened. Impressions, crowded with luggage, faces, my father's cigarettes, not the smell of smoke really, but the smell of his matches, the sulfur of the matches. Strange. What's strange? I was always aware of 2 smells, my mother's perfume and the way my father always smelled of tobacco or the smoke or the matches. But after that night, after the bus trip, I don't associate my father with cigarettes anymore. Because my father doesn't smoke. I've never seen him smoke a cigarette. But my mother's perfume was the same. Do you remember anything else about the trip?" "Not specifically. Mostly the mood, the feeling of the trip as if what?" "It was spooky, scary, but not in a haunted house sort of way, but as if we were being chased. As if we were running away. I remember my mother's face as she looked out the window. She looked so sad, purple half moons under her eyes, so sad. And the bus speeding through the night." "Anything else?" "We never went back. Not back to what I thought was home. We were in a different home, a different house, a different aura to the house. It was still winter and cold and we were together, my mother and father and me. But everything was different. What it appears to be is this. Your family moved from one part of the country to another, but not too far. It was still winter where you went and winter when you came from. A lot of families move. Men are transferred in their jobs. Your father could have been transferred as well. Maybe. Why are you hesitating? You appear uncertain. I am. About what? I don't know. But he did know. He didn't want to confide the knowledge to the doctor, however. The doctor was a complete stranger, and although he seemed sympathetic and friendly, he wasn't entirely comfortable with him. It should have been easy to tell him everything, all his doubts, to get it all off his chest, but he wasn't sure how to proceed. He wondered if he should tell him about the clues. What clues? What do you mean, clues? What you just said. You used the word clues. He retreated, into silence, stunned. Could the doctor read his mind? Impossible. Or maybe the medicine was doing funny things again. The medicine was always playing tricks on him, and now it was making him believe he was only thinking when he was actually speaking aloud. He would have to be careful. He would have to watch himself, to listen for his voice. The panic shivered in his bones, and a terrible tingling took possession of his body. I'd like to go back now. Of course. I'm tired. I understand. Don't press. There's plenty of time. Thank you. Everything's going to be all right. End tape.